welcome to Crawlspace. I'm Tim, here today with Lance. Lance, how are you today?
I am doing so well. How are you today, Tim?
It's just a beautiful autumn day out there. I'm very happy.
Well, happy autumn. Happy autumn to you. I believe, is today the solstice?
It might be. We're getting there. I don't know. Right in this range for sure. So happy fall out there to everybody. And Lance, this episode is pretty great. We have on a new friend that we've made. Her name is Linda Conley. Linda's mom, Betty Conley, was shot and killed back in 1993 in New York. And we had Linda on before, and we also had Linda's aunts on as well.
Yeah, Linda's aunts, Marie and Rosie, they were amazing. They came on via Zoom, and they had the picture of their sister Betty there. And you can just, their pain is so palatable, you can feel it. Their pain, their anger, same thing with Linda. But on the flip side, they're great people. They remind me of, say, what my aunts were like when I was growing up, just really genuine, good people. And Linda's a great person as well. Amazing photographer. If you want to check out her work, lindaconley.com, you can check out her photography. But her story, as we've said before, she was on the show. Her story came to us because of this viral video that her friend and colleague Leanne Fivey had made with Linda's father, all about Linda's mom and the unsolved murder.
Yeah, it's a great video. Make sure to check it out. There's going to be a link in the show notes. And so this interview, Lance, more of a conversation really, was taken from our Get Vocal night with Linda from a few weeks back. We do this every Thursday night, a live show, 9 p.m. Eastern on Get Vocal. There's a link in the show notes to those as well on the Crawlspace channel. And so make sure to check out the other two episodes along with this one because it is interesting. It's a fascinating case, and Private Investigations for the Missing might be picking it up. We've heard from Lou Barry about it, who is definitely interested in investigating it. So hopefully we can pick it up.
And they've been very vocal about it, Linda and her family. They had sort of a vigil that took place a couple of weeks ago. There's those signs that are the lawn signs that are up in the area now about Betty Conley, about somebody knowing something. And just to reiterate, this was July 8th, 1993. Linda, our guest, was 17 years old when her mom was shot at 3 a.m. She was working at a convenience store in Saratoga County, a town called Charlton. And she was shot dead at 3 a.m. and $100 was missing from the register. And there's never been any real substantial lead that has led to any sort of arrest or conviction. So they're still fighting this battle, and we are trying our best to keep the awareness and the profile level on this one high.
Okay, everybody, hope you enjoy this. Make sure to check out justiceforbettyconley.com. That's the number 4. And they also have a Facebook group. There is a link in the show notes. Thanks a lot for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 9 p.m. It's Thursday night. It's Crawlspace Live. How's it going?
Oh, you know what? I've just been sitting here for a full week waiting for this Thursday night. The church bells at the center of my town are chiming away. The 9 o'clock hour is at hand.
As
it's going to be a good show.
Every week at this time. And we are being joined by a very special guest tonight. And I know I say that often, Lance, but it is not every week where we have such a tour de force like Linda Conley. How's it going, Linda?
Hey, I'm good. How about you?
Couldn't be better. Thank you so much. Taking the time out of your Thursday night to join us. Yeah, where to even begin with you? Your interview, before we get into the details of yourself and your mom and your aunts, your interview with us was one of the ones that almost broke me. And as everyone knows, I'm a cold-hearted son of a bitch, and it takes a lot. So just want to get that out of the way. Give a little bit of background, if floor is yours for as long as you need it.
Thanks so much for having me back. The first podcast was my first, and I think you did break me. So we're even on that. But so I'm from upstate New York. I'm a person who is a victim of my mother was murdered, so I'm a victim of a crime in that regard. And I'm trying to, get to the bottom of who did it. It's an unsolved case from 1993. So it's been 27 years, and the goal is to get this finally solved and get it in the public eye. So thanks again for having me.
Of course, yeah. And if anyone hasn't heard our episode with you from really just a few weeks ago on Crawlspace, and we ran it on Missing More Murray as well, so definitely invite everyone to check that out. We recently, just the other day, spoke with your aunts, Marie and Rosie, for another episode, and that one's gonna be really emotional too.
I'm super excited to hear what they have to say, because I know they have some deep stories that a lot of people don't know about, and they're all kind of comedians. So it's going to be, I think, refreshing and a very lighthearted, loving portrayal, which will be nice to see about my mom.
Yeah, and they also came with some information that I wasn't, Tim and I weren't expecting about the crime itself, which was very interesting. But I don't want to say too much about that, because the way that information is delivered to us, I want people to be as surprised as Tim and I were at that moment. But they are such a delight, right down to just the emails that the coordinating with them over email. I just couldn't wait to actually see them in person, because you could just tell that they were very sweet women, and very genuine women. Do you mind if I give a quick bit of background on your mother's murder, just for everybody who hasn't heard about it? It was July 8th, 1993. Your mother was Betty Conley. She was 37 years old, and she was shot in the back of her head when she was robbed at about 3 a.m. in the small town of Charlton, New York. And she worked at this Extra Mart, which is like a convenience store. She worked the overnight shift, and the person who shot her got away with $100, and the crime is still unsolved. And it came into our world because your friend Leanne Fivey, who works with you, she's a colleague of yours in the photography industry. You actually are an excellent photographer, and she works with you, and she had a desire to make documentaries, and she wanted to do one. Well, you tell the story. You tell it much better than I than I possibly could.
Yeah, so Leanne is a videographer, and she's super talented. And we were having lunch, and we were just talking about how we wanted to do more stuff, we love weddings, but we want to do more stuff other than weddings. And she's like, I'm looking for something. And I was like, I got something for you. And I think, because it's not something you tell people randomly, and I think she was kind of shocked, and she's like, well, I want to help you, and let's make a video to kind of get it back out there, to get in the public eye, to make people see it, to pay attention, and that was the goal. So I'm forever thankful to her.
Well, she did a great job. I mean, the video that was shared widely on Facebook was so emotional, and really it's the way, there's so many aspects really to it. The way it's shot is very personal, and your connection is obviously really heart-wrenching. And you go back to the gas station, obviously where your mom was killed, and it's really, yeah, it's a bit of an emotional journey just to watch it. I can't imagine living through it.
Yeah, when she sent it, I told her, we did it in maybe April and May something, and I was like, hey, Leanne, can we get this out for the anniversary? It's July 8th, and she's like, yeah. So she sent me the video link at 11:30 at night on July 7th, and she's like, are you ready for this? And I was like, I don't know. So, I clicked play, probably like a lot of people, and then I just started crying. I was like, wow, she did a really great job, and it has over 100,000 views now, which is amazing. And I'm trying to keep it in the public eye, so people are paying attention, and the cops know that people are paying attention, and the cops are working on it, and that was the goal, and the goal is to keep that momentum.
And for anybody who hasn't seen it, Michelle posted the link in the chat area, in the message area. Oh, there it is again. So if anybody hasn't seen it, just click on that. Again, yeah, it is super emotional. If you have seen it, watch it again, and watch it for different reasons. Watch it for your dad. Your dad is in this, and you can just tell immediately that he isn't used to being on camera. He doesn't really want the attention. You can see that immediately, but he does it anyway. And the strength there is incredible. But yeah, watch it for different reasons. Watch it just for the cinematography alone. And Tim was right. It's a very personal, up close, and almost in the best possible sense of the word, uncomfortable. Like I get the feeling of being very, very angry about something like this, and it like exudes off of you.
Yeah, living with that is a challenge. But since that has come out, like I said, over 100,000 people have seen the video. There's a sign in front of the store now that says "Who killed Betty Conley?" Global has reinstated the $10,000 reward, leading to the conviction of the person who did it. On Sunday, I'm having like a little or Saturday, I'm having like a little get together for people to pick up lawn signs and flyers. So it did spark movement, which was the goal. But my dad does very much hate being interviewed. He does not enjoy it. No one really does. We just did a cold case special with Jerry Gretzinger, News Channel 13. That's in Albany, New York, and that's going to air the first week in September. And that's kind of a big deal. It's like a 3 to 5 minute news clip, which is a while for news. And he agreed to do an interview with me with them, which I know he does not enjoy. You're stirring up a lot of stuff when you do things like this. So.
Well, that makes sense, yeah, and I keep pushing. I mean, the momentum you've got now, I think, is great. And tell us a little bit more about what's happening this weekend.
Yeah, so on Saturday at the Harmony Mills Fire Department, which is literally right next door to the place, the old store that my mother was murdered at, I have 100 lawn signs. I have brochures. From 1 to 3, it's just like a little meetup for people to pick up, the literature and to say hi to one another, put a face to everybody, and just to let everyone know that we're still thinking about it in the community.
Well, that's great. And the chat room is getting full. Sarah Turney is now in the chat room. Linda, just this week or last week, Sarah Turney's father was charged with second-degree murder for the murder of her sister. She is one of the most amazing advocates that that we know personally. And if there's hope for her case, that was a cold case, 20 years about, there is hope for your mom's case too.
Yeah, I'm super happy with that.
Yeah, the key to it is just doing what you've been doing, which is pushing. Your family is pushing. This video's out there, which is going to continue to be, in the forefront of everything. People will see this video, and we'll have the episodes. We have your episode. We're going to have your aunts on, or we had your aunts on, and we'll have that episode live soon. This is recorded. That'll be out there. And it'll just keep going. If it seems like the traction is starting to die down a little bit, then we'll figure something out. We'll have you back on. We'll have your aunt back on. We'll convince your dad to come on. We'll do whatever. Just get something else going for this. And I don't want to let the detail go by. You mentioned that Global. You said Global is the company that is upholding their $10,000 reward. That's the company that owns the Extra Mart, which is really impressive that they identified this.
Yeah, they've been super helpful. They put out a press release for me, and they actually didn't own this store at the time this happened, but they bought them because they're a very large company. And when I called them, they felt it was the right thing to do to uphold the reward, and so they've been great. They do own all the Extra Marts now, and they've been nothing but helpful, and I'm very thankful for that. Because $10,000, if it gets higher or whatever, it could make a big difference.
Did you place a call to see if they were still going to uphold that?
I sure did. Yeah, it took me a little while to get to the right person, but I did, and she is actually in Oregon, so we have a little bit of a time difference, but she's been great and really helpful. And like I said, they did a press release about Saturday, and they're trying to, do everything right too. So it's very nice of them.
With the event on Saturday, is there anything in the back of your mind or the forefront of your mind, considering that maybe somebody responsible or somebody who knows who's responsible might see this, might pass by, might be affected by it?
Yeah, I mean, the hope is that it's a small community. I graduated with like 62 kids, maybe 80 or 85 now. I don't know. So it's super small, and everyone knows everyone. And if the person who did it or who was a part of it doesn't pass by, maybe their ex-wife will, or maybe their grandma will, or mom, or whatever. And just trying to like ring some bells to get people to think about this and what happened and how wrong it was, and to get them to do the right thing. Because I said this before, someone knows something, and that's a burden as well. And it's time to let that go and move on. And if you're scared of the person who did this, it's 27 years later. He's got to be at least 50 or older. So it's really time to come forward and put this to rest.
Yeah. And even if you are scared of the person who did it, there's ways to contact law enforcement under the radar. Just this week we've had our share of contacting law enforcement, and we see the results. They don't give you information back, but you see that something was done. And if somebody does know something about this crime, you figure out the way to word it. Figure out the way to drop that tip to the police. Just something if it leads to something concrete.
Yeah. So my phone number is on all of the information numbers, as well as the police department and the sheriff's department. The new detectives are great. They're really working hard, but I put my number on there as well, because I know that sometimes it's scary to talk to the police, and it can be intimidating, even if they're nice, good guys with the best intentions. So sometimes I'll get a tip, and then I'll pass it along, and then I'll talk to the people, and I'll be like, did they call you? So all this stuff is being followed up on. And like I said in the Facebook, I have a Facebook group, Justice for Betty Conley. There's like over 800 members. It's not going away. It's not going to be dropped or forgotten about. Like, it's something that's going to be pursued persistently. And, it's really 27 years later. It's time to let this go and let basically everybody move on.
And how do you feel about how the investigation is going now? And I guess let me keep it the present tense, I guess, now being after the video is out and now after more publicity for your mom's case.
Yeah, I feel like they're pursuing leads. I'm really not super informed about details of anything, because that's how these things seem to work. But they've been really good and respectful about calling me when I call them, and messaging me. And like I said, I know they're following up with people, because I'm asking the people to let me know if they're following up with them, which I think is important as well. And if they don't, I'll email them and be like, hey, did you talk to so-and-so? So, this is one of the few unsolved crimes in Sarasota County. And if they can solve it, it's going to, be really good for them as well. And I know they want to solve it. It's just a matter of making sure it stays a focus when there's like, car thefts going on the day before or whatever. It's about not letting it get dropped and keeping it present. So that's the goal.
And what was it like with law enforcement when it happened? What was your experience with them, and what do you remember your family's experience with them being like?
Well, I think it could have been better for my family specifically. I wasn't home the night that it happened. I was babysitting, so I was sort of not part of a lot of the questioning that happened, because I was like, an hour away or so. I know that my dad and my brother had to deal with them a lot more in ways that I would think would not happen now. But that kind of thing, although important and pertinent, is not my focus. My focus is now, because I can't change any of that. I don't like what happened. I don't agree with it, but I can't essentially do anything about it if I want to get answers to this. So that's most important.
Well, what were some of the things that you just said they did that you don't think they would have done now with your father and brother?
Well, my brother was 15, and they brought him to the police station and they questioned him alone, which I don't think a 15-year-old should be interrogated by police by themselves. They kind of automatically went to my dad as the suspect, which is really unfortunate, because he certainly didn't do it, and I think time was wasted. The guy who was in charge then is since retired, so there's only a couple people around now who were there then, and one of them is Mr. Zerlo, and he's actually the guy in charge, and I've just heard great things about him. I don't know if I've ever met him personally, but I think things could have been done better for sure. But like I said, my focus now is this and getting this work done, and getting it solved. The St. Rose, they do a cold case file with all their students, and they are offered to help with this case, and I'm hoping Saratoga County Sheriff accepts that help. It was offered to them, and we'll see what they say, but I don't care who solves it. I just want progress to be made.
Yeah, absolutely. So St. Rose is the college there?
Yeah, St. Rose is a really great college, and they have students who are in the department who work on cases like this, and they're 19, 20, 21-year-olds, whatever, and they're so techy now that they can figure out stuff that would take us, or me anyways, hours. So I think the more people who look at it, who have that mindset and who are into solving crimes and have skills, because it takes a whole bunch of skills to come together to solve something, the better.
Yeah, I mean, they should definitely open it up to those students. Those are bright students. Jillian and Michelle just said we met some of the students there last year. They're talking about the ASOC conference, and it's incredible. They need to open that up. I mean, if this is for free, it's like taxpayers' money go into the college, and these students are volunteering to do this as part of a program.
It's 100% for free. It's just about people accepting help, and that your politics basically, but hopefully they let them work on it too.
Yeah, and that's the American Investigative Society of Cold Cases that happens at the College of St. Rose in Albany, I think, every year. And we were there, I think it was 2019, Lance, and time is so weird at this point. And so we actually met some law enforcement there, Saratoga detectives, so that was pretty cool, and we were kind of working on a case out of them. But that's not the same jurisdiction, right? Those aren't the same detectives? I guess.
So this is Saratoga County Sheriff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's different than Saratoga Police or not.
I'm not sure. I just think they like throwing around Saratoga.
Yeah, people do that.
Yeah, and those students were really bright, and a lot of them were there for the conference. It was a 2-day conference, as Michelle and Jillian were there as well, and they mentioned, bright kids.
And skills that we don't have, to like go find stuff online. So.
Yeah, and resources that we don't have. They're just like they can reach out to a different department, I imagine. If they have a question about X factor in this case, they can reach out to another department that's studying something like that. I'm sure. I mean, you have this whole ecosystem of knowledge and information and resources.
Yeah.
God damn it. Make it happen.
It's like the state police. I hope that they get involved as well.
Yeah.
Right. So this is just the sheriff's office. This hasn't gone to New York State Police whatsoever?
They told me that there was a conference once about it with the state police, but I don't know the details. I know that Saratoga County Sheriff has been primarily in charge of this case for the last 27 years. Yeah, I don't know the extent to the state police being involved. I would probably like them to be involved more with all their resources and technology that they have so accessible. But like I said, it's just about everyone coming together to try to solve this.
And you believe that the perpetrator is still out there. You think that this person is still healthy and functioning?
I mean, my belief is they're either dead in jail or they're some type of addict. I mean, to kill someone that way for $100 doesn't really speak to me in anything other than desperate. So those are my, and even if they're dead, like, we just want to know, we just want answers, and that's all it's about.
when we were talking to your aunt, they had described a moment where your mom had. They described a moment where your mom had told them that she felt uncomfortable about somebody being in there a couple of nights prior, and if this is the same person who did this, that type of person, the way your aunts described them based on your mom's description, I don't see that type of person keeping their mouth shut about this, because this person was edgy and loud and was slamming things around, and that type of personality at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, that type of person would tell somebody. So there's people out there that know.
Someone knows something, and whether it's a mom or whether it's a wife or an ex-wife or a kid, someone knows something, and that's a burden for them as well. And it's time to let that go.
Yeah.
There was your aunt sort of mentioned in that moment, or after that moment, really kind of mentioned that that your mom might have been aware, like might have recognized this person. Do you agree? Is that something you believe too?
I think that she knew whoever did it, and that's why she was killed, because she worked at a store literally across the street from the high school for many years. And the high school kids would go over there for lunch and to smoke cigarettes at the time, because it was late 80s, early 90s. And she knew everybody. Like, she would say hi, and it was super friendly. And I think whoever did it knew that she could identify them. Or they were just so messed up on whatever they were on, they had no clue what they were doing. Or both,
It's a small town. Is it possible that this could have been like a student of the school? Is it possible that the person still lives there?
Yes, to both.
Yeah. Blows my mind. I mean, I think we looked this up when we had our interview, and I can look it up right now what the population of the town was, but it was like 1,700 or something like that. It might not have even. No, you know what I think it was? I think it was like 4,000 or something, 4,200. It's small. Let me look. I'm gonna put myself on mute and look it up.
If it wasn't the high school that I went to that my brother had to return to, it was a local one, like Burnt Hills or Schenectady or something like that. So yeah, someone knows something. It's so small out there. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was the only place open overnight. It was the only place for someone to steal money to go get, some drugs. They knew the store was there. They knew it was open. So.
Yeah. I just looked it up. It was 4,022. In 1993, the population was 4,022. And I just looked up the population of the town that I grew up in New Hampshire in 1993, and it's 5,297. And I thought 5,297 was small. I knew everybody. We knew everything that happened in that town. Everybody knew everybody. And we're talking over 1,000 people less in this town. There's no way that person didn't know somebody.
Yeah, someone knows. It's a super small town, like you said. Someone knows something. Like, I was at a wedding like 5 years ago, and someone random was like, "Oh, Linda, I'm so sorry about your mom." And I'm like, who are you? But everyone knows everything. So people know.
Is that a story that you've heard often too? The story that your aunts told about your mom being kind of creeped out by someone. I think it was twice too. I'm not sure. I haven't listened back to the interview yet, but I think she said that person came in there twice.
I've heard the story from a couple people, but I don't know too much other than having just heard the story. And it could be that. It could be. There's multiple names that have come up multiple times. So you try to figure out from these blocks of people who keep coming up, who is the person who did it.
Was there ever a composite sketch that was done? Oh, there was. Okay. Is that something that's public?
It was in the newspaper at one point in time. Yeah.
I can't find it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
We should bring that back.
Yeah, I might be able to find it. There was some talk about a white car. There was talk about a blonde-haired male, tall. Those are some things that came up.
So then the composite was based off of your mom's report of the guy who was creepy?
I don't believe so. I think the composite was based off of a guy who passed by the store at that time and saw some, because they had gas pumps at the time, and he saw a person outside who he described to the police.
And that person hasn't been identified. It's not like he described this person and then they figured out who it was and they were like, no, it's not that person.
As far as I know, they have not been identified. Talk to someone, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, also there was a your mother had indicated to this person that the security camera was right there and that it was on, and unfortunately it wasn't recording, which is kind of backwards in my head. Like I would have imagined that the overnight shift would have had a recording just for the fact of maybe making sure that the employees don't steal or something.
This has not been verified, but I think it was basically so when someone opened the door, it would ding. So if whoever was working was in the back knew someone came in. But that's, like I said, it hasn't been verified. That's just what I believe.
And how much time do you think the investigation lost while focusing on your dad as a suspect?
At least weeks. For sure. Weeks. Yeah, he had to deal with a lot of stuff from them. He had to take a lie detector, which once he took the lie detector test, they stopped talking to him, which makes me believe he passed it. But certainly weeks happened where he was the prime suspect, and whoever did it had time to hide the gun and whatever else they had to do, you know. But that was traumatizing as well, you know, to have your dad investigated who was completely in love with your mother, and then, like, I know he didn't do it. I want him officially cleared. That's one of my goals in this as well.
He hasn't been officially cleared?
Has not been officially cleared. Yeah.
Have they officially cleared anybody?
The word is that everyone is a suspect until they are not. My brother was home that night, but because he's family, his alibi is not sufficient to clear him, although they are not looking at him. Those are the words that I basically got. But for his sake, I want them to be like, he's not a suspect. And I understand their perspective, like all that stuff. But a goal of mine is you know, he should be able to have a life. He's lived with this cloud of suspicion for 27 years. It's a small town. He goes to Stewart's and people know who he is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and no matter what is said by police, he's always going to be that guy.
Yeah, the rumor mill, you know?
And Lou is here, and Lou is Lou has been a police officer for, I think, 116 years, and he still looks like Bradley Cooper on a good day, and I mean Bradley Cooper on a good day.
Yeah,
he looks,
yeah.
Not Lou looks like Bradley Cooper on a bad day,
Right.
Or Lou on a bad day looks like. Anyway,
Bradley
he said
Cooper
that
on a good day. Yep.
you get Bradley Cooper either way. He said that the police will never clear anyone in any case, which is understandable. But I think after a certain period of time, wouldn't you think that there's just a duration where you're monitoring somebody and you're like, well, this person's never gotten in trouble since. He's clearly not the culprit here. I mean, isn't there like I guess there can't be. I guess there can't be that space for a compassionate clearing, you know? I guess you can't do that legally. But short answer from Lou, he said no. Okay.
Yeah, I see that, and I, you know, it's a simple case of them covering their own asses. But I think it's really the compassionate thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. And we cover a lot of missing person cases, so I wonder if that's a little bit different in that way. I wonder if Lou can answer that. And you know what? We should probably open it up. What do you think? You guys okay opening up this fourth box?
Yeah, I'm cool opening it up. I feel like your shirt, Linda, is getting quite a positive reception here.
I like the palm trees.
The palm trees, yeah.
You can have one too. They're at Marshall's.
Oh, I love Marshalls. Don't. I'll be at Marshalls three to 4 days a week if I could. I just want to say that I had a such a horrible. Your aunts were telling us how bad they are at technology, and I had such a horrible day with technology during like before their interview, during their interview. We had an interview with somebody, and
Tara's in the chat room.
oh
too.
yeah, Tara's in so we had we had an interview with Tara, and she had said she before we started, she said no video, which she just meant like she didn't want the it was a Zoom, and she just meant she didn't want the Zoom part of it being out there.
Yeah.
So instinctively, I just didn't hit record because she said no video, and I was like, oh. And like 42 minutes in, Tim texts me and goes, "Are you recording this?" And I was like, "No." And then he was like, "We got to stop, guys. It wasn't even recorded." We lost an entire interview, had to reschedule it. And then later on that day, we're interviewing your aunts. Super emotional. They they're giving great stories about your mom, and they have the picture of your mom between them, and they're doing so well. And we end, and Tim and I were talking, and I went to I had the cursor right over the stop record button, and it was literally mid-sentence. We were like, "Guys, I was so emotional. What a good time." And I hit stop to stop the recording, and it cut the whole Zoom call. So it just made it look like we just hung up on him. It made it look like we just did this emotional interview, and we were like, "Thanks a lot, lady. Bye."
Yeah. Well, they didn't say anything to me about it. So I'm thinking,
Well,
I called, and then I emailed, and I'm like, "I'm so sorry." Like I was just like falling over myself apologizing because, I mean, they just threw their hearts out there, and then the second it ended, we were like, "Peace."
It was like, wow. It was like, okay, that was a great way to end it. We're gonna cut here. Boom. Done. See you later.
Yep.
But
they're super cute. They're my mom had 7 siblings. She was one of 8, and they're one of the last couple siblings remaining. So they had a rough beginning in life, which I'm sure you heard about. And they're just like the cutest ladies. And like I was saying earlier to Lance, I was like, I'm excited to listen to it because I know there's going to be some gems in there that I've never heard, and I'm just going to probably get a chuckle out of.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, they also said that your mom worked 5 jobs. I can barely work one. Like she 5 jobs, and how many jobs did your dad work?
Well, my dad had a couple jobs too. They're both very hardworking folks. My mom didn't graduate high school because she wanted to spend time with her sister, who she never got to see, and so she hustled. She did all those really hard jobs. Prep cook, making food at a diner. She worked at a greenhouse. Like she just did all kinds of things just to keep the family, with an income. And my dad did all miscellaneous jobs as well. And they're just good work, hardworking people, good people.
We also asked your aunts if what they thought your mom would be doing for an occupation now, and I want to see if the answer is kind of similar. What would your mom be doing now? What do you think her occupation would be, or what would she be doing?
Yeah, I don't. It's funny they had an answer because I don't know that I have an answer for that.
They talked about how bright she was, just what a ray of sunshine, and how she just brought joy to people. They talked a lot about that.
She had a great smile that was super contagious. So, she probably could have been like a counselor or something, helping people, supporting people. I know she wanted to do some traveling, which she never got to do, which makes me sad. So she really could have done anything she wanted. People liked her, and she was warm, and she was a good person.
They said that she had an incredible green thumb, and they were certain that she would be doing something in the horticulture field.
Well, maybe, yeah. There's definitely good visions of that right now, aren't there?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have this, guys. I think we're bottlenecking here. Everyone wants to get on. Guys, get on.
So 8 siblings, huh? My gosh. So how many cousins then do you have?
So my mom's side of the family, there was a lot of tragedy, and there are a lot, but I don't know a lot of them because everyone got so spread out because they all had to go to foster homes. And then a bunch of them died pretty young in like their 40s. So there's a lot. Like I said, I don't really know a lot of them. But it's just my mom's mom died so my grandmother basically died when my mom was like 10 or something like that. And then they all got, spread out to different homes to grow up, and they didn't get to see each other. And it was just real, not the best. And then she met my dad, and they got married within like a year, and then they had me within a year, and they were about to be married for 19 years. And I would hear them in the morning at like 5 a.m. sitting at the coffee table having coffee, talking about their day and what they were going to do. And I would see them like kiss, and he would like touch her butt or something after like 19 years. And I would just be like, God, so like they were happy. Like they were good. And they were very fortunate. And so she was at a good place. So, my brother was 15. He was about to graduate high school in 3 or 4 years, and the two of them could have done all kinds of cool things together, and they both lost out on that.
Sorry for the late. It's a goddamn tragedy. It really is, because there's so many miserable people in the world, and then you have so many good people, like your parents, and just that memory of you hearing them at like 5:30 in the morning talking. Some people don't even talk at all day.
Yeah, that was their time to like get up and like connect before us kids started bugging them.
Yeah. You had told us a story about your mom putting flowers on other people's graves. Can you tell that story again? Because I think it's a great story, and I just for me personally, I would love to hear it again. But I think the people here would like to hear it as well.
Yeah, so my Aunt Rosie, who is my mom's sister, actually told me this. And she said that my mother went over to her house with like a pallet of flowers. And Rosie's like, what are we going to do with those? And my mom was like, well, half are for you. And we're going to go to the cemetery, and we're going to plant the other half at the graves where it doesn't seem like people have been visiting. And so the two of them went to the cemetery and planted these little flowers at these graves that had been, maybe not looked at for a while. And for me, I had never heard that story before, and I was just like, wow. When she told me that, I think I was like crying, and I was just like, that is like the sweetest thing to do ever, to think about something like that. So, and I don't know if Rosie told you that story again, but
Oh yeah, yep.
It symbolizes her in a lot of ways.
It's very sweet, yeah. And Ryan Coitello, what's going on? How's it going?
Hey guys, I'm well. Thanks. Hi, Linda. I'm really sorry to hear about your mom.
Thank you.
Your story. I just wanted to ask something, if that's all right. I was just listening a little bit. Did you say that the security camera at the shop happened to be off that day, or it just pointed in the wrong direction? What was the?
Yeah, my knowledge of it is that it was not a security camera that actually recorded. It was basically a camera that was there to let the person working that night, if they were in the back, to let them know that someone had come in the front door. So I don't know if there's any footage or anything like that.
But the shop had a camera that was theoretically pointing at the desk that looked like it was. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know the shop owner?
I do not know the shop owner. It has changed hands many times since then. Yeah, but I don't know who owned the shop.
You didn't at the time. Did you ever get a chance to talk to that person?
I never got a chance to talk to the person who owned the Extra Mart. It wasn't like a little mom and pop place. It's
Mhm.
like I don't know if it was a franchise at the time or what it was, but there are multiple Extra Marts throughout upstate New York. So, there was a manager there, and I've heard a couple things about the manager, but yeah, I haven't learned too much about that.
And did you know if the owner or the manager were married at the time?
I've heard the manager was a lady. I don't know. I don't know the details of her.
She was married. It really plays into the perp's favor that the camera, though it was pointing at the camera, it didn't work. Hey,
I don't know that if it didn't work or if it wasn't that kind of camera. You know.
it's really a lucky streak for whoever did that, though. That's the only. That's just. It seems weird. Even like anyone, even trying to rob the place, would immediately look for a camera, and as soon as
Yeah.
they saw one, you'd think that they wouldn't pull anything.
Or knock it down or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
I think Tim, am I hallucinating this? Didn't Rose and Marie say that the camera was knocked down off the wall?
Yeah, they said that it wasn't recording, but it was on. As Linda said, it would show someone in the back that there was someone in there, and you would see the video, but it wasn't actually recording. So it was just used for that one purpose. And then this person who came in and asked was asking about the cameras. This is a person that Betty was sort of unnerved by, and asked about like where, if they're recorded and things like that, and apparently she said yes. And then you're right, Lance, that one camera, I believe, was knocked down,
which just makes the person kind of stupid if they think that they can knock a camera off the wall and that would disable whatever recording was transmitted back to the device. It's not going to take away the footage. But I see where you're coming from, Ryan, and I just want to give Linda a quick background. Ryan looks into cases like very detailed. Like, he's one of the responsible citizen detectives that's in our universe, and that's an excellent point. Like, someone knew the camera was there, someone wasn't afraid that the camera was there.
Sort of seems like it.
Yeah, and I think it also speaks to maybe more than one person. Someone knocked it down, and then someone did whatever. So.
That's interesting. More than one person. So that's something that you've considered in the past. Is that something that the police have considered? Do you know?
I think so. Yeah, like I said, there's a few blocks of names that have come up multiple times from multiple places that are not connected, and it's just a matter of trying to nail down specifics. And in 1993 there is certainly less of a paper trail than there is now, so I think it's a little more difficult to figure out, they have an alibi, is it accurate, or are they just saying that because it's 27 years later and who knows. So then it becomes based on the police work that was done 27 years ago, and if that was any good and thorough, and it's all a big check back game.
Listen, I'm going to go. Thanks for the nice note, Lance. Linda, I hope you can find some answers. Maybe I'll see you guys around again.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ryan.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Shannon in the chat room asks, how can someone just steal somebody's life so casually?
Yeah.
Unanswerable question. I mean,
it's a ridiculous question that needs to be asked. And I think about all, like, a case like that with so many years that have passed, things will continue to surprise you. There was a case that happened close to my hometown that Tim knows about, and some people know about, the Craig Lane murder. And he was 17 years old, and he was stabbed, I think, like 20-something times. And the rumor mill was all over the place. I remember my sisters talking about it. And there was no evidence, a lot of blood, no evidence, a composite sketch that was just given by a man and his young daughter who had pulled up to the gas station, just saw the person in the headlights, and they ran off, and it was the middle of winter. So, everything's like cold and no one's expecting to pull up to a gas station and see what they saw. And so that was in 1987, and I believe in 2000, I want to say 2005, 2004, 2005, someone had dug up, not even deep, they had dug up behind one of the department stores that was across the street from where this occurred. So that was in 1987, and I think in 2004, 2005, someone dug up blood-stained receipts that were from that night. And it was after years of police saying there's nothing, as much as you think there should be something, there's nothing. And then I don't even know how it happened. Someone was like walking their dog, and they saw paper that looked like it had blood on it. Blood from 1987. So, I mean, as much as it feels like it's cold and people are saying there's nothing to go on, you never know. Something's out there, and it could be found.
Yeah, that's why it has to stay in the public eye, so that people are thinking about it and looking at it, and not just letting it not be paid attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, could you imagine somebody walking around there and maybe doing some construction, coming across something that they just can't explain, coming across a gun that was thrown somewhere? And if you're not there on Saturday putting up signs and those lawn posters, if that doesn't happen and someone's around there and they find a gun part and they don't know, like, oh, this is an old gun part. It could have been a hunting thing. Someone could have like dismantled their gun hunting or something. They could throw it away. Now your signs are there. That's going to the police. They're just going to want to do that, I would imagine.
Yeah, there's 100 lawn signs going out in the area. I have 1,000 flyers. I have a 3x10 vinyl sign that I need to figure out where to hang. So that stuff's coming out, and maybe the person who did it or the person who was there isn't going to see it, but someone they know is going to see it. And that's what's so huge about Facebook too. A lot of people who are on there, maybe over 40, and they all use it all the time and share it. And that's why the video was so important, because I would imagine that someone who knows something actually saw the video, and then they had to think about it. And I think the person who knows something has probably thought about saying something 1,000 times. It just hasn't actually come out, and it can come out now, and it, they can let that go and move on. And like I said to you guys before, it's 2020. Like, legit, anything could happen, and I think it's time for this to.
Yeah, you have actually put your phone number out in the public on. I'm looking at a news article online. Is that a phone number that you just set up for this specifically, or that's not like your private number, is it?
That's my direct cell.
That's your
That's
cell phone.
That's ballsy. I'm sorry. That takes some. That's your direct cell. So that's right there in the public. If anyone has any information, they can call your cell phone.
Yeah, Greg Overacker. He's the only one that does that.
Sorry. My number's public anyways. I'm in the business. Random people call me for jobs all the time. It wasn't that stressful for me to put it out there. Have I had thoughts that the person knows that I'm looking for them? Sure, that's fine. They can know. But if someone's more comfortable talking to me, which I would be more comfortable talking to a person than calling the police, like, that's stressful, and that you're less likely to say something. So if you see me as a person and it motivates you to come forward with information, great, let's do it.
And what is the plan with the documentary that your friend Leanne is making? Is there more that she's going to be shooting?
Yeah, so she did some stuff with me, actually talking to Rosie. She said she would be there on Saturday to film some stuff. She has a thriving video business and a young kid and stuff, so she's super busy as well. And I don't know what the next steps are and all that part. I should be better at recording myself, but I don't do that when I make calls and whatnot. But we're just going to have to see. I have a friend, her name is Chris. She's a writer, freelance. She's helping me, collecting information and working on it. And, she's kind of like, so we grew up without a lot of money. And she's like, you guys didn't have a lot of money when this happened. And she's like, I feel like if you had money, it would be a different story. And I'm like, totally true. So like, she's kind of working on, that part of it a little bit. So there's, I'm very fortunate of a lot of people who want to help, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, and man, another hour is almost completely gone by. It flies on these Thursday nights, but I don't want to have this show end without you talking about your profession. You are a photographer, and you're a great photographer, and we'll pop a link in the messages. When did you decide that you wanted to get into photography?
So it wasn't anything intentional. After my mom was killed, I went to Adirondack Community College and I got a criminal justice degree. And I was like, I don't know if that's necessarily for me. So I moved to New Orleans for a few years, and I was slinging coffee, and kind of in between, I'd come up here and worked at a photo lab, a 1 hour photo lab back in the day when you would drop off film. And one of the people were like, you're creative, you got a good eye, come back and you can assist me at weddings. And I didn't feel like I had much of a direction, and I came back and I started assisting her at weddings, and I started doing like my own photography stuff, and I had shows with my own work. And in 2004, I stopped working at a photo lab and I did wedding photography full time, and I've done it full time ever since. So I just like to make things, and that's part of that.
You specifically love wedding photography.
And I enjoy people's weddings, and when people are like super in love and it's very vibey and y'all feel good, that sort of thing. I think I like making things in general. Like I make stuff out of wood as well, and tables and whatnot. Wedding photography was an avenue to have a career, but it definitely is a kind of a feel good feel as well.
I'm so glad that you like it as a feel-good industry. Tim and I did our share of wedding videography, and I just feel like that's a completely different animal. The clients tend to expect the video as fast as they get the pictures, and that's not the case. And I think we just went for the wrong clientele. I was looking at your website. It looks like you have clientele that is very down to earth and very like reasonable.
I'm very fortunate. I this is who I am. I put myself out there as this is who I am, and people are like cool, or like, there's someone out there for everybody, so you show people your true colors and they'll, you guys will match. So
very cool.
Yeah. I get like anxiety when I think of the wedding video stories.
Well, with video, it's you get one take at like the couple's first kiss. You get one take at the flower girls dropping the stuff down, and then like during the reception, like Aunt Karen bounds over you with her drink, and she's like, "You got the kid, right? You got the video of the kid dancing, right?
He's dancing."
Like, yeah, lady, I got it. Thank you. Thanks.
You got that? You got that?
I got the here. Take my camera. You want to go get it? Take my camera.
But you guys, you just record everything. The photographer has to like be bossy. So there's the positive side for you guys.
That's true. That's true. There's definitely moments where we took great comfort in knowing that we had to be the guys who stood in the corner. Like, I'm not in the way. I can't get in the way. I don't want to be in the way.
Or when the phone start after, you're like, bye, see you later. And the phone
I never knew there was such a rivalry between the photographer and the
It's just the way it is,
Oh.